Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends and fellow dreamer, we live in a world where it's so easy to be swept away by the noise around us, the opinions, the comparisons, the expectations. We are constantly measuring our worth against the lives of others, against a standard that isn't even our own. But here's the truth. In 2025, the only person whose life you need to focus on is yours. I want you to imagine something for a moment. What if, just for this year, you stopped looking around at what everyone else is doing and started looking inward? What if you allowed yourself to be free from the pressure of others' judgments and the never-ending chase for external validation? The world will always be loud, the distractions will always be there, but your peace, your joy, your dreams, your growth, these are yours to nurture. Your journey is unique, and it's time to stop letting anyone else define it. You are not here to fit into a box, to live up to someone else's vision of success. You are here to create your own story. In 2025, let that story be the one where you choose to prioritize yourself, your well-being, your mental health, your ambitions. Start by setting boundaries, ones that protect your energy, that honor your needs, and that allow you to pour into your own life. Let me remind you that self-love is not selfish. It is the foundation on which you build everything else. It is the oxygen you need to breathe life into your goals, your dreams, and your relationships. In a world that constantly demands from you, taking time to focus on yourself is a revolutionary act. So in 2025, I challenge you to make a promise to yourself. Focus only on your own growth, not on the approval or expectations of others. Invest in your mind, body, and spirit. Give yourself the grace to fail, but also the courage to rise again. Build a life that excites you, not one that simply meets others' standards. Remember, you are worthy of all the love and care you give to others. You are enough just as you are, and when you focus on your own well-being, you will show up in the world in a way that is authentic and powerful. So let this year be your year, the year you choose you, the year you invest in the most important person in your life, yourself. Because when you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, you not only elevate your own life, you also inspire others to do the same. Sure, I'll expand on that first keynote without adding any closing sentences or headings. Here's the expanded version. Prioritizing your own growth and well-being is perhaps one of the most revolutionary actions you can take in today's fast-paced, often overwhelming world. In a society that constantly tells you to achieve more, be more, and do more for others, it's easy to lose sight of the importance of taking care of yourself. Yet this self-neglect can lead to burnout, feelings of inadequacy, and a sense of disconnection from what truly matters to you. By choosing to focus on your own growth and well-being, you're not only giving yourself permission to thrive, but you're also enabling yourself to show up more fully in your relationships, your work, and in the world. First, it's important to recognize what growth and well-being truly mean. They aren't just about career success or physical health, although those are important aspects. Growth is about evolving as a person, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It's about cultivating new perspectives, challenging yourself to be better, and embracing the journey of becoming. Well-being, on the other hand, involves nurturing your mental, physical, and emotional health so that you can feel whole and balanced. Both are deeply interconnected. One cannot flourish without the other. To prioritize your growth, you first need to understand that your journey is uniquely yours. There's no universal timeline or blueprint for personal growth. While many of us are conditioned to compare ourselves to others, to measure our success based on someone else's standards or achievements, real growth happens when we stop focusing on what others are doing and start paying attention to our own. When you allow yourself the freedom to grow at your own pace, you create space for authentic development. It's about understanding that your worth is not tied to the accomplishments of others, but to the effort you put into becoming a better version of yourself. This means embracing your failures and setbacks as part of the growth process. In fact, they're often the most valuable lessons. When you're focused on your own growth, you realize that failure is not a reflection of your abilities, but a stepping stone to your next level of success. The most successful people are often the ones who have failed the most because they've learned to view failure as an opportunity for reflection and improvement rather than something to be feared or avoided. Prioritizing your growth also means being honest with yourself about what you truly want in life, rather than following the desires of others. Many times, we chase after goals or dreams that are influenced by societal expectations, family pressure, or the standards set by peers. But when you take the time to evaluate your true desires, those that come from within you, not from external forces, you begin to chart a course that aligns with your authentic self. This requires self-awareness and sometimes the courage to make decisions that may be difficult or unpopular. It may mean stepping away from certain relationships, leaving behind certain careers, or simply saying no to opportunities that don't serve your true purpose. Equally important is prioritizing your well-being. It's easy to become so consumed with the desire to achieve or to help others that we forget to take care of ourselves. However, when we neglect our own needs, we run the risk of burning out, becoming disconnected from our passions, or experiencing emotional exhaustion. Just as you would never ask someone else to give more than they have to offer, you must not ask the same of yourself. You must truly think about what is right for you. You must never allow for your own well-being. You must never ask the same of yourself. If you deplete your own energy without refilling it, you will have little to give to the world, to your loved ones, or to your goals. Self-care, therefore, is not a luxury or something you do only when you have time. It's a vital part of maintaining your ability to show up as the best version of yourself in all areas of your life. Prioritizing your well-being starts with taking care of your body. Physical health is often the first thing we neglect when life gets busy. Yet our physical state profoundly impacts our emotional and mental health. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, and sufficient rest are essential to maintaining the energy and resilience needed for growth. When you feel physically strong and healthy, you have more confidence, clarity, and stamina to pursue your personal and professional goals. Mental well-being is equally important. In a world that constantly demands more from us, it's easy for our minds to become cluttered with stress, worry, and anxiety. Prioritizing mental well-being means setting aside time for mindfulness, self-reflection, and mental clarity. Whether through meditation, journaling, or simply practicing deep breathing, taking moments to clear your mind allows you to focus on the present and make decisions that are rooted in calmness rather than reaction. Mental well-being also involves cultivating a mindset that supports your growth. This includes positive self-talk, a belief in your own potential, and a willingness to challenge limiting beliefs that may be holding you back. Emotional well-being, too, cannot be overlooked. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle of life and ignore how we're truly feeling. However, emotional health is foundational to how we engage with others and respond to challenges. When we neglect our emotions, they can fester and affect our relationships, our work, and even our physical health. To prioritize emotional well-being, it's important to create space for vulnerability and self-expression. Allow yourself to feel your emotions without judgment. This doesn't mean you have to act on every emotion you feel, but acknowledging your emotions allows you to process and release them, making it easier to move forward with clarity and purpose. Prioritizing your own growth and well-being also means embracing the importance of rest. In today's world, rest is often seen as an indulgence or a luxury, something we only do when we've earned it. But rest is an essential component of both growth and well-being. When you take time to rest, you give your body and mind the chance to recharge, which in turn improves your ability to perform and make decisions. Without rest, we become run down, overwhelmed, and less effective in all areas of our lives. True growth is not about constantly doing more, but about knowing when to step back, reflect, and rejuvenate. Prioritizing your growth and well-being requires setting boundaries. In both your personal and professional life, you need to establish limits that protect your time, energy, and emotions. Saying no to things that drain you is not selfish. It's an act of self-preservation. Often we feel obligated to say yes to everything, whether it's helping others, taking on additional work, or attending events, but overcommitting leads to exhaustion and resentment, which ultimately hinders your growth. By setting healthy boundaries, you can focus on the activities and people that truly align with your goals and values without feeling guilty for putting yourself first. As you focus on your growth and well-being, it's also important to recognize the power of small, consistent actions. Many times we think growth requires massive, sweeping changes, but real transformation occurs through daily, incremental steps. Whether it's reading a book, learning a new skill, practicing gratitude, or taking a walk in nature, small actions add up over time. These moments of care and growth compound, and eventually they lead to profound changes in your life. It's not about making grand gestures. It's about showing up for yourself every day in big ways and small, with the intention of becoming better than you were yesterday. When you focus on prioritizing your growth and well-being, you begin to change the narrative in your own life. Instead of measuring your success by external markers, the number of followers you have, the awards you've received, or the approval of others, you start to measure your success by your own inner peace, your resilience, and your ability to live authentically. This shift is incredibly liberating. It means you no longer have to prove your worth to anyone. You simply live as the person you are meant to be. Prioritizing your own growth and well-being isn't just about creating a better life for yourself. It's about becoming the best version of yourself so that you can give your best to others. When you are fulfilled, healthy, and aligned with your true self, you can offer love, support, and inspiration to those around you in a way that feels authentic and genuine. When you focus on your own growth, you raise your vibration, and in doing so, you inspire others to do the same. By choosing to prioritize your own growth and well-being, you are taking responsibility for your own happiness and success. You are acknowledging that you are worthy of the care, attention, and effort required to live a fulfilling life. It's not an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-respect. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and by filling your own cup first, you ensure that you have everything you need to shine brightly in the world and to help others do the same. This is the power of prioritizing yourself. It's not just about you, it's about creating a ripple effect that can change the lives of everyone you touch. Setting boundaries to protect your energy is an essential practice that allows you to maintain your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. In a world that constantly demands more of your time, attention, and effort, it can feel impossible to carve out the space necessary to focus on what truly matters to you. The people around you, whether family, friends, colleagues, or even strangers, often ask for things, and while we may feel compelled to help and be there for everyone, doing so without boundaries can leave you feeling depleted, frustrated, and disconnected from your own needs. Boundaries aren't just about saying no to others, they're about saying yes to yourself, ensuring that you have the resources, energy, time, and mental space to nurture your own growth and well-being. The first step in setting boundaries is recognizing that you have a right to them. For many, especially those who are empathetic or naturally people-pleasing, the idea of setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable or even selfish. You might worry that saying no will upset someone or cause them to think poorly of you. But the reality is that boundaries are not an act of rejection or disregard for others. They are an act of self-respect and self-care. When you set a boundary, you're taking control of your life and your energy. You're choosing to protect your own well-being so that you can show up as the best version of yourself for others. Remember, if you don't prioritize your own needs, you're likely to burn out, and that doesn't benefit anyone. One of the most important aspects of boundaries is recognizing that not every request made of you requires a response or an action. It's easy to feel like every email, message, or phone call demands an immediate reply. But when you constantly respond to others' demands without taking into account your own needs, you allow your energy to be spread too thin. It's crucial to learn how to assess each situation and decide whether it's something you truly want to engage with, whether it aligns with your values, and whether it serves your own well-being. Setting boundaries involves knowing when to step back and give yourself space to breathe, reflect, and recharge, rather than constantly reacting to the needs of others. Another key element of boundary setting is understanding that not all boundaries are physical or logistical. Many are emotional and mental. People may not always ask directly for your time or your help, but they might still drain your energy through negative or toxic conversations, or by leaning on you for emotional support without offering the same in return. These types of interactions can take a heavy toll on your emotional state, making it difficult to focus on your own growth and peace of mind. Setting emotional boundaries means learning to say no to conversations, situations, or people that bring unnecessary negativity into your life. It means protecting your mental space from stress and emotional exhaustion so you can maintain a sense of calm and clarity. Of course, emotional boundaries don't just protect you from others, they also protect you from yourself. Sometimes we engage in self-critical thought patterns or put ourselves down, believing that we're not good enough or capable enough. Setting boundaries with your own thoughts means recognizing when these negative patterns are taking hold and actively choosing to interrupt them. It means saying no to self-doubt, to perfectionism, and to unrealistic expectations you may place on yourself. Just as you would distance yourself from a toxic relationship, you should distance yourself from negative self-talk that diminishes your worth. Physical boundaries are another area where you must be vigilant. Your time and your physical presence are finite resources and you need to protect them. This means learning to say no when you're overwhelmed by obligations or when you've simply reached your limit. It might mean turning down an invitation to an event you don't want to attend or saying no to taking on additional work when your plate is already full. It also means allowing yourself rest and downtime without guilt. People will often try to pull you in different directions, and if you don't have clear physical boundaries, you might find yourself overcommitted, drained, and unable to focus on what truly matters to you. Rest is a vital part of personal growth, and without it, you won't have the energy to pursue your. There's also a power in communicating your boundaries clearly and respectfully. It's one thing to have boundaries, but if you're not able to express them effectively, they can easily be overlooked or ignored. Communicating your boundaries with confidence is crucial. This doesn't mean being harsh or confrontational. It means expressing your needs and limits in a way that is firm, but respectful. For example, if someone repeatedly asks for your time or energy, it's important to communicate when you're available and when you need to prioritize your own well-being. It's about being assertive and standing up for yourself, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. When you communicate your boundaries, you teach others how to respect you, and you model healthy self-care practices that may inspire them to do the same. Setting boundaries also requires flexibility. Life is unpredictable, and there will be times when you need to adjust your boundaries to accommodate unforeseen circumstances or changing priorities. However, flexibility doesn't mean compromising your core needs or sacrificing your well-being. It simply means being able to assess a situation, adjust. You may need to extend yourself on occasion, but only if it doesn't come at the expense of your long-term health or happiness. Setting boundaries is an ongoing process. It's not something you do once and forget about. Your needs, priorities, and circumstances will shift over time, so it's important to revisit and reassess your boundaries regularly. What worked for you last year might not serve you in the same way now. The key is to continuously listen to yourself, to check in with your energy, and to honor your own limits. As you grow and evolve, your boundaries will evolve with you. When you set boundaries, you create space for what matters most in your life. You protect your energy, and you ensure that you have the time and resources to focus on your own growth and well-being. Boundaries allow you to show up more fully for yourself and others, to maintain your emotional and mental health, and to live with intention and purpose. By saying no when you need to, you're really saying yes to a more balanced, fulfilling life. And that's the kind of life that will support your personal growth and enable you to shine in all areas of your life. Certainly, here's the expanded version of the third keynote on practicing self-love and self-acceptance in 750 words. Self-love and self-acceptance are two of the most powerful tools you can have in your life. In a world that constantly asks for more from you, where external validation often takes precedence, practicing self-love can feel like a radical act. Yet, it's one of the most important things you can do for your own well-being and personal growth. Loving and accepting yourself are not just about feeling good about yourself on good days. They're about treating yourself with kindness, compassion, and respect, no matter what challenges or imperfections you face. At its core, self-love is the practice of recognizing your inherent worth and treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to others. We often find it easy to love those around us, to support friends, family, and colleagues, and to show them care and concern. However, when it comes to ourselves, many of us struggle to offer the same